Golden State Media Concepts Baseball Podcast. We cover everything Major League, from spring training to the World Series. We've got your favorite club covered, from New York to Boston to LA. This is the Golden State Media Concepts Baseball Podcast.
What is up? Welcome to the GSMC Baseball Podcast. It is a Monday. We're going to get our week started with some talk on baseball. I am your host, Tom Dougherty, and of course this podcast is brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network, as we will jump right into it with this first segment recapping the weekend in baseball before we get to some talk on Shohei Ohtani, the NL Central, the AL East, how it's tight up on top. It's a jumble in the NL Central all over the place. And then also we're going to get to previewing the games coming up on a Monday and Tuesday. So stay tuned for that. But first we're going to get to the recap of the weekend. And as we always do, we'll start with some of the better pitching performances, as we're going to go over to New York, starting Mets and Diamondbacks on Friday. As we go back to Friday, Jacob deGrom got his fourth win on the year. The Mets win 3-1 at home as I start off the weekend series with the Diamondbacks. deGrom went 7 innings allowed, 6 hits, 1 run, no walks, 13 strikeouts for the Mets right-hander, as he was on fire on Friday. Zach Godley also pitched pretty well, went 6 innings allowed, 1 earned run, 3 total, 1 earned run though, on 4 hits, 4 walks, 6 strikeouts for Godley in the loss. No home runs in this one for either team. All right, A's and Blue Jays. Colomé gets the win over Estrada, as this one kind of was decided late in the game. It was tied most of the game. The A's scored 2 in the 7th to take a 3-1 lead, and they would win this one by a final score of 3-1. Marco Estrada went 6 2/3 innings, allowed 3 runs on 7 hits, no walks, 6 strikeouts, to give up a home run in this one to Fowler, the young center fielder for the A's. Fowler coming in. Remember, this is the guy, Dustin Fowler, who had that horrific injury in the Yankees uniform when he was playing for the Yankees. I think it was last year, the year before, and now he's coming back and is playing well for the A's. All right. For the A's, though, they're pitching. They had Brett Anderson started, but had to leave the game. He only lasted 1 inning. There was, I believe it was probably likely due to injury. He had to come out of this game. Yes, as he was grabbing his shoulder coming out of this game early in the first inning. The long reliever for the A's, as they had Lucas and Colomé come in to work that middle of that game. Colomé gets the win in this one. All right, going over to the Pirates and the Padres. Padres get the win on the road in Pittsburgh. Tyson Ross outdoing Ivan Nova. In this one, Brad Hand with that's his 13th save already on the year for Hand, as Tyson Ross went 6 innings, allowed 2 runs on 5 hits, 4 walks, 2 strikeouts given up as for Tyson Ross. Ivan Nova went 6 innings, allowed 2 earned runs, 3 total on 6 hits, no walks, 4 strikeouts for Nova. No home runs in this game as well, as this was a 3-2 win for San Diego. Over to Boston, as the Red Sox were not able to get this one. The Orioles beat the Red Sox 7-4 at Fenway. Alex Cobb gets the win over Drew Pomerantz. Pomerantz in the loss went 4 innings, allowed 5 runs on 6 hits, 3 walks, 2 strikeouts. Cobb went 6 1/3, allowed 3 runs on 10 hits, scattering 10 hits, still gets the win with 1 walk, 3 strikeouts, to give up a home run in this one to Mookie Betts, the only home run for the Red Sox. The Orioles got a home run from JB Scope, or Jonathan Scope, that is, as they got the win there. There was a solo homer for Scope, and Betts also a solo homer. All right, that's his 14th in the year. As he's trying to keep pace with everybody else in that in the top league lead of the home runs. He's got 14. We'll probably get to a game soon in this weekend where one of his teammates had a couple. All right, Cubs beat up on the Reds 8-1 on Friday. John Lester beats Homer Bailey. And this one, Lester was good, Bailey was not, as the Cubs got on him early, scoring 3 runs in the first inning. Lester went 6 innings, allowed 1 run on 2 hits, 1 walk, 8 strikeouts. Did give up a homer in this game. The only run he allowed that was to Adam Duvall, his 9th of the season. Cubs did not get a homer in this game, but a bunch of doubles in this one. They hit 3 doubles. In this one, as well as, obviously a bunch of singles, had 15 hits in this game total. Addison Russell went 4 for 4. All right. Marlins shut out the Braves 2-0. Dan Strelly gets the win, his 2nd of the year, as he outduels Whistler. Whistler went 5 in the 3rd innings, allowed 2 runs on 5 hits, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. And that would be enough for the Marlins as they had their starter go 7 shutout innings, allowing 3 runs on 3 walks, 6 strikeouts, or 3 hits on 3 walks, 6 strikeouts for Straley, no runs, 7 shutout innings for Dan Straley, and the Marlins get the win there. Indians can't get past the Astros, as the Astros get this one 4-1 as they added on late after Cleveland tied it up. In the top of the 7th, Houston came back with 2 runs just like that and then added an extra one in the 8th to get that 4-1 win. Charlie Morton beating Steve Clevenger, as this weekend was all great pitching matchups. It was a great weekend for baseball in Houston as the Indians came in with their best guys and Houston came up with their best guys as well. Morton went 7 innings, allowed 1 run on 4 hits, 1 walk, 8 strikeouts. That 1 run was a Edwin Encarnacion homer in the 7th inning. For the Indians, Steve Clevenger went 6 1/3 innings, allowed 3 runs on 8 hits, 4 walks, 6 strikeouts. He gave up a home run to George Springer, his 9th of the season. As the Astros, like I said, they allowed the game to be tied in the 7th, but the bats for Houston bailed out their starter to give him the win and get him back on the winning column. Brewers and Twins. Brewers get this one on the road, 8-3 over Minnesota. It was a nice pitching performance from Suter as he gets the win there. And this one for the Brewers, he went 5 2/3 innings, allowed 1 run on 5 hits, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts for Suter. The bullpen took care of the rest. Home runs for the Brewers. Choi Aguilar hit 2 actually in this one as well. He hit his 4th and 5th homers in this one as the Twins could not keep up, as Max Kepler did hit his 6th home run of the year, but it was not enough. Brewers get the win big in this one. Another big blowout. Rangers blow out the White Sox 12-5 in this one. Rangers scored 3 in the first, 1 in the second, and 5 in the third inning as they beat up on Carson Fulmer. Fulmer went 2 innings, allowed 8 runs on 3 hits, 5 walks, and 2 strikeouts. That was just in 2 innings of work. Rangers got a home run from Sin-Soo Choo, his 6th of the year for Texas. Rangers also got a pretty good start from, not a great start. They got bailed out. Jesse Chavez ends up getting the win in relief, but it was another Matt Moore start where he didn't get through 4 innings of work. Allowed 5 runs and 3 2/3 innings of work. All right, the Royals actually get a win against the Yankees at home in Kansas City on Friday. 5-2 was the win there. Jacob Junis beats CC Sabathia, and this one Junis' 5th win on the year. Sabathia takes the loss. Just the first one he's taken all season. Junis went 5 1/3 innings, allowed 2 runs on 7 hits, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts. Sabathia, 5 innings, 2 earned runs, 4 total on 4 hits, 4 walks, 5 strikeouts. To give a homer to Salvador Perez, his 6th of the season. The Yankees did not get a homer in this game as their bats stayed quiet for most of that one. Cardinals beat up on the Phillies 12-4, and this Michael Wacha beating up that lineup, and then the Cardinals lineup beating up Jake Arrieta. And this one, Arrieta only lasted 3 innings, allowed 2 earned runs, 4 total on 5 hits, 2 walks, 1 strikeout. That was only 3 innings of work. And then the Michael Wacha went 6 innings allowed, 2 runs on 5 hits, 2 walks, 8 strikeouts for the Cardinals. Right-hander home runs for the Cardinals. Jose Martinez, Colton Wong hit his 3rd, and then Pena hit his first. The young catcher, first baseman Pena for the Cardinals, hit his first homer of the year. Rays beat the Angels 8-3. Blake Snell gets the win in this one over Tropiano, his 5th of the year for Snell, as he pitched well again. In this one, went 6 2/3 innings, allowed 2 runs on 4 hits, 3 walks, 8 strikeouts for Snell, as he continues to mow him down. Tropiano got dinged up with a couple home runs in this one, as it was Robertson and Ramos. Actually, Wilson Ramos hit 2 homers, his 5th and 6th innings. Fifth and 6th homers of the year for the Rays. Homers for the Angels was Mike Trout hit his 13th, and Shohei Ohtani actually had a pretty good night at the plate. He had a double in this one as well. All right, last game of the day, it was Mariners beating the Tigers 5-4, as the Tigers were winning this one 4-0 the whole game, except the Mariners scored 5 runs in the bottom of the 7th inning to get the win here at home. It wasn't any home runs. It was all singles, it looked like, to get that rally started, as there was a couple of singles and a sacrifice fly and a double by Mitch Haniger that knocked in the go-ahead run in this one, as the Mariners get the win there. And then actually there's one more game. Giants could not get on top of the Rockies, as they dropped this one 6-1 in San Francisco. Kyle Freeland pitched very well, beating Derek Holland. Freeland for the Rockies went 6 2/3 innings, allowed 1 run on 5 hits, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts to give up a home run. The only run of the game, that was to Gorkis Hernandez. All right. As we're going to do a couple games from Saturday before the second segment. We're going to do quickly the rest of Saturday and Sunday. As we get over to Saturday, Giants beat the Rockies 9-4. In this one, Chris Stratton beats John Gray, as the Giants' bats did come alive in this one. After only scoring one run in the first game, they scored 9 here, getting a home run from Brandon Crawford, Gregor Blanco triple, and a few doubles in this one, as the Giants had 17 hits in this one, and they scored 9 runs on those 17 hits. Stratton went 5 innings, allowed 3 earned runs on 8 hits, 2 walks, 1 strikeout for him. And Gray only lasted 3 2/3 innings. Did give up 5 earned runs. The A's beat the Blue Jays 5-4, as Toronto scored 4 runs in the bottom of the 5th, take a 4-0 lead. The A's came back in the top of the 8th and scored 5 to take the lead in this one, as it was in the 8th inning, as Stephen Piscotty single, and then a Chad Pinder grand slam. It was 4-1, and then it was 5-4, just like that, as the Pinder hit a grand slam to give the A's the lead in this one. All right, Reds beat the Cubs in a walk-off fashion in the bottom of the 11th inning. 5-4 was the final in this one, as the Reds were able to get a win against the Cubs. They did take extras, as Billy Hamilton did score on a bases-loaded walk, or make that Scott Schebler scored on a Billy Hamilton bases-loaded walk, and that was it, as the Cubs could not throw a strike with the bases loaded in a tie game, and that was how it ended there in Chicago. That was actually game 1 of a doubleheader. We had a couple doubleheaders on Saturday, actually, due to some rain. We've had tons of rainouts all over the league this year, as the Cubs came back after losing that one in extras. They came back and put the hurting on Cincinnati, beating them 10-0 in Game 2 of the doubleheader. A good pitching performance from the Cubs, as Jose Quintana went 7 shutout innings, only allowed 1 hit, 4 walks, 7 strikeouts for the Cubs. The Cubs bats, they had home runs from Ian Happ, and a triple from Jason Hayward, a bunch of RBIs, as Bryant Rizzo had 3, Hayward had 4, and they obviously did have to have a bunch of production. They scored 10 runs on 11 hits in this one in the Game 2. Dodgers had a doubleheader as well in the nation's capital. They had their game on Friday rained out. They win Game 1 4-1 behind a nice Ross Stripling performance. He he's been spot starting. I mean, their rotation's been kind of in flux as they've had some injury issues. Stripling went 6 innings, allowed 1 run on 4 hits, no walks, 9 strikeouts for the young right-hander. And then in Game 2, it was a late inning fashion. The Dodgers came back to win this one as they were trailing 4-2 going into the 8th inning. They scored 1 in the 8th to make it 4-3. They scored 2 in the 9th off of Sean Doolittle to make it 5-4. So they scored 2 in the 9th off of Doolittle to take the lead there as they got some clutch hitting there at the end of that game. Matt Kemp hit a 2-run double to give them the lead. Phillies beat the Cardinals by 1, 7-6, as they scored twice in the 8th inning to take the lead. They did not give it up, as the Cardinals could not hold on after scoring in each of the innings before that. They scored 3 in the 4th, 1 in the 5th, 6th, and the 7th before the Phillies came back, scored 2 in the 8th to take the lead and win this one. Neither start was really notable as it was obviously all bullpen, but it was a Jorge Alfaro single that knocked in the go-ahead run after Kingery tripled in the tying run there in the 8th. Indians beat the Astros, come back to tie that series up behind Corey Kluber. He gets the win in this one. Cleveland scored 3 runs in the first inning off of Dallas Keuchel to cement a lead to begin with, as Keuchel continues to have some woes here in this beginning of the year, as the Indians, they needed to get a win there, as obviously after dropping the first game in that kind of fashion they needed to come back and get a win. Keuchel he did last 5 innings, but gave up 4 runs on 6 hits, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts to give up a home run in this one. That was to Michael Brantley, his 7th. Corey Kluber went 7 innings, allowed 2 runs on 6 hits, no walks, 10 strikeouts. He also surrendered a homer. Didn't really hurt him that much, but it was Carlos Correa. He hit his 8th. Brakeman also went deep, and so did Marwin Gonzalez in the loss for Houston, as they try to come back in this one in the 9th. And they scored 1 in the 8th and 1 in the 9th, but were just held short and had to take the loss in that one. Padres beat the Pirates again, 6-2. Clayton Richards pitched very well, beating Nick Kingham. In this one, Kingham in the loss went 6 innings, allowed 3 runs on 5 hits, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts. Richard went 7 in the third innings, allowed 2 runs on 7 hits, no walks, 2 strikeouts for the Padres left-hander. He got his 3rd win on the year. Carlos Villanueva and Corey Spansberg went deep for the Padres. No home runs for the Pirates. And this one, Mets beat the Diamondbacks in walk-off fashion in the bottom of the 9th inning. The Diamondbacks were up 4-2 in this one until the Mets scored 2 in the 8th and then 1 in the 9th to win the game. Bullpen for the Diamondbacks faltering again. Archie Bradley at the back of that pen could not hold the league. Neither Andrew Chaffin also. Obviously, it was the Devin Mazzaraco home run, a 2-run home run in the 8th inning off of Bradley that tied the game, and then Wilmer Flores won it with a sacrifice fly in the bottom of the 9th. Red Sox beat the Orioles 6-3 in this one. Rick Porcello gets his 6th win. They beat Dylan Bundy. Bundy is just really up and down starts. He's 2-6 on the year, as he's had good starts and bad starts. Always had that really bad one in against the Royals, but could not beat the Red Sox here, so he gives up a couple home runs. Make that 3 home runs. Devers hit his 8th, Betts his 15th, and Benintendi his 4th, all off Bundy. Porcello was excellent. He went 6 innings, only allowed 3 runs on 6 hits, 3 walks, 9 strikeouts. He also gave up a homer, but it was just 1 to Pedro Alvarez, a 2-run shot. But that was the bulk of the offense for the Orioles all game, as they dropped this one 6-3. Braves beat the Marlins 8-1. As we're actually going to come back in this one, give me a sec, as we're going to come back after the break, as I again run long, going through these stats. And let's talk about these stats. We'll come back with the Braves and Marlins after the break. 1 sec.
This is your ultimate stop for everything sports. The Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Should I say more? From the NFL, MLB, the NBA to MMA, it's all in here. The Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Listen now.
All right, welcome back. GSMC Baseball Podcast. Ran a little bit long in that first segment, but it's all right. As we're just going over the scores and stats from the games over the weekend before we get into the talk on Shohei Ohtani, some talk on the Cubs, and the rest of the NL Central as it's all just jumbled up there at the top, and then the NL East as well. Yankees and Red Sox continue to battle it out on top of the division there out east. All right. Braves and Marlins. Braves beat the Marlins this one 8-1. Sean Newcomb pitched very nicely, beating Julio Reyna as the Braves bats came out and backed their pitcher. Pitcher also obviously pitched very nicely, only allowing the run. In this one, as the Braves, they were able to kind of scatter out the runs. Miami got the lead early, 1-0, but Newcomb was able to right the ship, only allowing that one run on 4 hits over 6 innings of work, two walks, 4 strikeouts for the young left-hander. That's his 5th win on the year. The Braves getting home runs from Kurt Suzuki and Freddie Freeman. Suzuki's 6th, Freeman his 9th, as the Braves got that one. Brewers and Twins. Brewers within 5-4 in this one. It was late as Hader got the win there, as the Brewers scored the go-ahead run in the 8th inning to get the win in Minnesota. Yeah, it was the young pitcher for the Twins. Romero gets the no decision as he pitched pretty well, but it was a clutch homer by Christian Yelich in the top of the 8th inning off of Addison Reed to get them the win. The Rangers could not come back against the White Sox. White Sox scored 4 in the 3rd inning to make it 4-3, but then scored another in the 7th to win this one. Lucas Giolito gets the win in there. Yankees come back to beat the Royals. After dropping the game on Friday, they win 8-3. Luis Severino, his 7th win of the year. Gary Sanchez had a nice game at the plate. As when you're behind the plate catching a lot, I mean, sometimes it's tough to keep it going behind the plate. But he was 4 for 5 with 3 RBIs and 2 runs scored as well. As he also had 2 home runs in the game, as the Yankees bats really came out. And this one, Gleyber Torres and Aaron Hicks also had homers. So did Stanton, as the Yankees had a bunch of long balls on this one. Rays beat the Angels 5-3 behind a nice, I guess you can call it a relief performance from Yarbrough. He did not start the game, but he came in and pitched 6 1/3 innings in long relief as the Rays win this one in Anaheim. Trout had another big home run in this one, though, but it was in the loss. And then the Tigers could not come back against the Mariners and win this one as Seattle gets it 7-2. A nice pitching performance from James Paxton, his 3rd win on the year. Probably his best performance on the mound ever since that no-hitter he had up in Toronto. He went 9 innings, allowed 2 runs on 3 hits, 1 walk, 8 strikeouts, to give up a homer in that complete game win. It was to Victor Martinez, his 4th on the season. Mariners got homers from Jin Segura and Gamble, his 1st on the year. All right, as we're going to quickly do Sunday, run through this. On Sunday, it was a beautiful day for baseball on Sunday. We actually had some good weather. We had, after bad weather, having to have some double headers on Saturday. Sunday actually proved to be nice. Giants beat the Rockies 9-5 after beating them 9-4. And this one, as it was tied 5-5, the Giants scored 4 in the bottom of the 7th inning to make it 9-4. Capped big Brandon Belt 3-run homer in that one to make it 9-5. Red Sox blanked the Orioles 5-0. Eduardo Rodriguez pitched very nicely for the Red Sox in this one, as they get the series win over the lowly Orioles. Rodriguez went 5 2/3 innings, allowed no runs on 9 hits, 7 strikeouts, no walks as well for him. The Red Sox got 2 home runs from J.D. Martinez, his 14th and 15th. Andrew Benintendi hit his 5th of the year. A's beat the Blue Jays 9-2. Got a nice pitching performance from Tyler Megden, as the bats also came out. They scored 4 in the 5th and 4 in the 6th inning. The A's did, as they didn't really need all of them, as Megden pitched very nicely. He went 7 innings, allowed no runs on 2 hits, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts. The only 2 home runs were given up by Font at the end of that game. He did give up a home run. Trevor Simeon hit a home run for the A's. Yangervis Solarte hit a home run for the Blue Jays, his 10th on the season. Mets beat the Diamondbacks 4-1, and this one Noah Syndergaard got his 4th win on the season. as the Mets continue to roll and they sweep the Diamondbacks at home in Citi Field, as they continue to try to work their way up the NL East poll there, as it's also getting pretty tight. You talk about that race as well. But Syndergaard wins 7 innings allowed, 1 run on 6 hits and 1 walk, 7 strikeouts. The division standings in the East is the Mets trying to work their way up those standings. Cubs win 6-1 over the Reds as they take that series, and they had a couple of home runs in this one as Mahle got knocked around with the long ball. Cubs also got a nice pitching performance from Yu Darvish, his first win in a Cubs uniform. It took him all the way till May 20th, but he got the first win there in Chicago, and he actually did lower his ERA a bit as well. Not bad for the Cubs right-hander, as they try to make good on. It took him a while to finally get a team to sign with, but it was the Cubs, and he finally getting his first win. Better late than never for Yu Darvish. Obviously, the Cubs get home runs from Kyle Schwarber, Javier Baez hit his 11th, and then Ben Zobrist hit his 2nd on the season. All right, next game, the Dodgers complete the sweep of the Nationals in Washington as they win this one 7-2. Alex Wood, his first win on the year as well, just like Darvish. The Dodgers got home runs from Yasmani Grandal, Kike Hernandez, and Yasiel Puig. Trey Turner hit his 6th home run of the year for the Nationals. Braves come back in miraculous fashion to beat the Miami Marlins. The Braves scored 6 runs in the bottom of the 9th inning to win this one 10-9. The only home runs in the game were by Marlins. Brinson hit a grand slam early in this one, and Rojas hit 2 in this one as well, his 6th and 7th of the year. A rare game where you have both teams having 6-run innings far from each other. Marlins scored 6 in the 4th. Obviously, having that grand slam helps. And then the Braves come back to score 6 in the bottom of the 9th inning to win by 1 run. Diamondbacks beat the Pirates the Padres beat the Pirates 8-5, and this one, Brad Handa, has another save for him. That's 14 on the season for him, as Jordan Lyles, he got a no decision. It was actually ended up Yates got the win in relief, as the Padres had to go and wait till the end of the game. So they scored 4 runs in the top of the 9th inning to get the 8-5 lead. They were trailing, obviously, 5-4 before coming back late. To get the win there, it was a bunch of singles. It was a force attempt, scored a run, Freddie Galvis bunt single, and an A.J. Ellis single that scored 2 runs and gave them the lead there. In Minnesota, the Twins get the win 3-1 over the Brewers. A nice pitching performance there from actually it was a late win, as Addison Reed actually gets the win for the Brewers, but I make that for the Twins. But it was a nice start from Junior Guerra and from Jake Odorizzi. Odorizzi went 5 innings, 5 2/3 innings, allowed 1 run on 5 hits, 2 walks, 10 strikeouts for Odorizzi. Did give up a home run to Aguilar, his 7th on the season, but that was the only run the Brewers could score in the game. White Sox shut out the Rangers in this one, as it was Lopez getting the win for the White Sox. Went 8 shutout innings, allowed 2 hits, 2 walks, 8 strikeouts for him. The Cubs got a home run from Castillo, his 6th on the season. Yankees blow out the Royals 10-1. As they bring out the bats in this one. It was a bunch of home runs in this one. Tyler Austin hit 2, Aguilar hit 1, and Austin Romine hit 1 as well, as they're making that park in making Kauffman Stadium look small. Sonny Gray got a good start, looking up and up right there, as he needed that one. Went 8 innings, allowed 1 run on 4 hits, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts for him in Kansas City. Cardinals beat the Phillies 5-1 in this one. Nice pitching performance from Flaherty. He went 7 2/3 innings, allowed 1 run on 2 hits, 1 walk, 13 strikeouts. Did give up 1 home run to Rhys Hoskins, the only run the Phillies would score. Aaron Nola, he pitched all right in this one. Went 6 innings, allowed 4 runs on 7 hits, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts. Also gave up a home run. That was to O'Neill. The Angels come back and get a win against the Rays in the game on Sunday. Shohei Ohtani pitching very nicely, went 7 2/3 innings, allowed 2 runs on 6 hits, 1 walk, and 9 strikeouts. Did give up a home run to Field in this one, and then the Mariners, the Seattle Mariners get a walk-off win in the 11th inning. It was two good pitching performances kind of go by the wayside. Francisco Liriano went 8 shutout innings, allowed 1 run on 3 hits, 5 strikeouts, but it was a big home run in the 9th inning, in the bottom of the 9th inning by Mitch Haniger off of Shane Green. They tied the game for the Mariners. They were down 2-0. And the whole game, then Haniger hit a homer, and then Gene Segura hit a walk-off single in the bottom of the 11th. And then in the Sunday night game on ESPN, it was the Astros beating the Indians 3-1. A nice pitcher's duel, just as I thought it would be, with Lance McCullers and Carlos Carrasco on the mound for the team. Carrasco went 7 2/3 innings, allowed 3 runs on 8 hits, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts. Did give up a homer to Brian McCann. McCullers went 7 shutout innings, allowed 1 hit, 2 walks, 8 strikeouts for the young right-hander. He has 6th win already on the season for the Astros. All right. Went kind of long on that one with the scores and highlights. We're going to just talk for a little bit longer, as obviously we have seen a lot of volatility. Obviously, not everybody. There was a couple sweeps. We had a couple double headers over the weekend, but it was a great weekend for baseball. Lots of games. As well, obviously, we were able to get everything in after some rainouts on Friday. But that big series, Cleveland and Houston. Houston obviously getting 2 out of 3, but obviously we got our pitching matchups. Obviously, everybody went to kind of perform the way we thought they were gonna. Especially that game yesterday on Sunday Night Baseball, getting the game we wanted kind of the whole time. But I mean, talk about drama we had yesterday alone. We had a game where we had a team come back down by 6. The Braves come back. I mean, I remember watching whenever I watch baseball, like, okay, 6-run lead into the or make that 5-run lead going into the bottom of the 9th inning. Okay, I think we're okay. Like, they can't hit it, even if they hit a grand slam, we're still winning. They're not gonna have. They can finally get a pitcher in there that's gonna actually get somebody out. They're not gonna keep getting hits and hits and hits. I mean, what's going to happen here? But no, the Braves scored 6 times, not only to tie the game, but to win the game in the 9th inning. And then obviously, you gotta love those games where you have a starter like in Detroit. You just had Francisco Liriano had a no-hitter going into the 7th inning. It was broken up, and then he continues that shutout into through 8 innings, gives it over to the bullpen for the 9th inning, and 2-run homer, boom, just like that. I mean, Mitch Haniger laying in the weeds against Sean Green, which is unfortunate for him, but I mean, just the way kind of the way it goes, I guess, for Detroit, as the Mariners, after not having anything that whole game. I mean, if you're a Mariners fan who's like, oh, we can't get a hit to save our life, we can't scratch a run, you get a 2-run homer in the bottom of the 9th, and then you could wait a couple more innings and get the win there, and extras is pretty cool for them. As far as teams coming in and winning a bunch of games, I mean, San Diego goes into Pittsburgh, a team that plays really well at home, the Pirates, and they win. Did they sweep them, or they got 2 out of 3 at least against the Pirates? No, the Padres were playing pretty well. Yeah, they got the sweep over the weekend, winning all 3 of those against the Pirates. So, I mean, if you're a Padres fan, you're looking up, obviously still 8 games under 500. Also, the Dodgers are winners of 4 straight. They get the sweep over the weekend as well of the Nationals, but still sitting at 6 games under 500 as well. So, I mean, the NL West is kind of getting a little tight as well, but as the Diamondbacks have come back down to earth a bit. All right, we're going to come back in just a moment after these messages and talk about Shohei Ohtani, the NL Central, AL East. We're going to get it all in that third segment before we go and do the outlook for the week. Monday and Tuesday games might leak over our talk on the Central AL East in that fourth segment as well. So we'll do it when we come back. So just stay tuned.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be, visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
All right, welcome back to GSMC Baseball Podcast, as we are going to do kind of the talk segment as we've gone through all the scores and highlights from a busy weekend in Major League Baseball. Obviously, one of the big games yesterday was the Shohei Ohtani start. Came out and pitched very nicely, went deep into the ball game, went deep into actually the 8th inning before they removed him with 2 outs in the 8th inning. But you got to like that if you're an Angels fan. Obviously, Ohtani coming around a little bit throughout this season, having a little issue with the blister, coming back off the injury, or I'm going to call it an injury. But obviously, if you told the Angels fan before the season started that the kind of unknown Japanese star that came over that everybody wanted was going to be 4-1 on May 20th after pitching in a game where he had 9 strikeouts and went 7 into 3 innings, I think he'd be pretty happy. Oh yeah, he also has 6 home runs in the year, right? So you gotta be very happy if you are an Angels fan, I would assume, because you're getting some good production on both sides of the ball from your big star. Yeah. So Ohtani has 6 home runs. He's third. His same home runs as Albert. He has 6 home runs on the year. That's good for third on the team. And then if you go over to pitching, he's also up there in the win category too. He's tied for first with 4 wins with Garrett Richards. So not that really wins are that matter that much when it comes to pitchers, but I mean, you look at strikeouts, he's second on the team in strikeouts with 52. So behind Skaggs and Richards, who both have 53. But Ohtani, I mean, I know these guys they're kind of going on this 4-man rotation, whatever they're doing there in Anaheim. They're just obviously figuring out they're getting some good production from Ohtani. He's definitely settled himself in to the major leagues. Not quite the barn burner, the showstopper that everybody was. I don't know. Baseball is so long. It's kind of hard to be the shock and awe guy every day, every week. I mean, even Mike Trout, we're like, okay, yeah, it's Mike Trout. He's going to do that. Okay, yeah, we got it. Like Bryce Harper, okay, good, we got it. Stanton, okay, you strike out a lot. Yeah, we got it. Judge, okay, we got it. He hit home runs. Like, it's kind of hard when he's kind of day in and day out performance. I mean, it's nice that it's kind of like almost like my one football comparison is this: Ohtani does pitch every Sunday, so it's like waiting for a football game to come around on Sunday and you get an Ohtani start. But it's just hard. Again, it's still hard to compare when it comes to the fact that baseball is played every day, and obviously the Angels have been playing all week, and then you wait, okay, now it's Ohtani's start day. Just happens to be on that Sunday. All right. I do want to get into some stuff regarding the NL Central and the fact that obviously the Pirates do drop 3 to the to the Padres over the weekend, so they were sitting pretty on top of that, or at least right next to the Milwaukee Brewers at top of that division, but now they're all jumbled up again. I mean, look at that. The Reds are 12.5 back, obviously, in last place. They're 16-32, but everybody else is well over 500. The Pirates are technically in 4th place, quote-unquote 4th place, because of their winning percentage is just a couple ticks below the Cardinals and the Cubs, who are both at 25 and 19. But everybody is deemed a game and a half back of the Brewers, who are 28 and 19. They've won 7 of the last 10, so on a good little splurge right now. But everybody else is, up there. Cubs have won 6 of the last 10. St. Louis is 500 at 5-5. Pittsburgh 6-4. So, everybody's kind of just going along here in this Central Division. The Pirates probably hoped they would get a couple games against the last place Padres over there in the NL West. But they got swept. But lucky for them, not everybody was on there, as obviously the Cubs did drop 1 out of the 3 they played against the Reds. Brewers also lost a couple lost one against the Twins. They lost on Sunday, and then the Cardinals didn't get it. They won on Sunday but lost on Saturday. So nobody's really barn burning right now. But as everybody kind of prods along, but I mean, compared to the other Central Division, the AL Central, I mean, at least we actually have some winning records. I don't think anybody in the AL Central. Cleveland is 22-23. They lost on Sunday to the Astros on Sunday Night Baseball. They're 22-23, and they're in first place by a game and a half. This is hilarious. It's hilarious. If they were 22-23, they'd be 9 games back. Just like they have the same record as the Tampa Bay Rays. The Tampa Bay Rays are 22-23, and they're 9 games back in the East. 9 games back. I don't know. Is there other last place teams? Yeah, the Royals are 8.5 back. They're 14-32. That's crazy, and that goes right into the same conversation we've had before about the whole unbalanced schedule thing. And I mean, the Indians, they should be up there. They need to get their stuff together. Obviously, they're a perennial AL contender. They made it to the World Series just 2 years ago. Obviously, should have probably won that World Series up 3-1. That's a different story. But they're playing most of their games. They play 19 against the Cubs. I mean, they play 19 against the Twins, 19 against the Tigers, 19 against the White Sox, 19 against the Royals. I mean, that's a big chunk of your schedule is played against your division, and not to mention your division that has no teams over 500. None. 0. You have 2 teams that have a combined 27 wins. Combined, they have 27 wins. There's teams that have 27 wins. In second place, the Mariners have 27 wins. I mean, hello. Come on, guys. I don't know. Has your schedule been tough? Really been that tough? Obviously, they just had a game, a series in Houston, obviously. But has it really been that tough? Did they just play the Yankees? I think they just played the Yankees. So let's look at the Houston. I'm going to look at the Cleveland Indians schedule here. Obviously, they just played the Astros on the road. They're going to play the Cubs on the road, and they go back to play the Astros at home before hosting the White Sox. So they get a little bit of, here comes like the soft part of their schedule right here. Yeah, bunch of soft spot. That whole month of June, they have, it goes, they finish off June, or make that May, with, they finish off May with the White Sox, and then Twins to start off June, Brewers, Tigers, White Sox, Twins, White Sox, Tigers. So yeah, I think, and then Cardinals at Ace, and then Royals again. So I mean, yeah, looks like they're playing a bunch of division guys in June. So look for the Indians to really hit their stride in June. Obviously, they got to get their bats figured out. Their pitching has been there. Except for Mike Tomlin, but their bats need to get figured out. Obviously, you got a bunch of talent in that lineup: Encarnacion, Bradley, Kipnis, Lindor. So I mean, there's lots of options in that lineup. Obviously, they just come off a little tough stretch of games. They just played, obviously, the Astros, but they just played the Tigers They dropped 2 out of 3 against the Tigers in Detroit. They did get 2 out of 3 against the Royals, but they just played the Yankees and the Brewers before that. So I mean, want for the Indians, but you are going to play. You're going to definitely, the June will be a soft spot in your schedule for sure, as they're going to play a bunch of their lowly AL Central compadres there. As far as the AL East, I'm going to kind of go back to the AL East. But we talk about the Yankees and the Red Sox, obviously still battling out there. In the East, I want to see when the next Red Sox-Yankees series is here. I think that's what it's going to come down to. Obviously, they play each other 19 times. The winner of that season series is probably going to win that division. They don't play at all in the month of June, so not really much to talk about there. But the Yankees, I mean, they're coming up with the series against the Rangers, probably handle them just fine. They just came out the series against the Royals, where they did take 2 out of 3. I mean, I think if if you're the Yankees, you need to start obviously winning these series winning as many series as you can. But if you can get some sweeps mixed in there, that'd be nice. Obviously, I mean, the Red Sox just did come off a series where they were only able to take 2 out of 3 from Baltimore, the lowly Orioles. So, the Red Sox are going to be traveling to Tropicana Field on Tuesday. So, for a 3-gamer against the Rays. So, I mean, they should be able to take care of that. But we'll talk about and they got their top of the rotation coming up for the Red Sox too. So, we'll see. I think that game maybe on Thursday is the only game I would be a little wary about. They have not announced starter of Blake Snell, who's pitched nicely on the season for Tampa Bay. But I mean, yeah, the Red Sox and Yankees long season I think it's going to come down to September. It's going to come down to whose pitching holds up. Their bats are they're going to both keep breaking. Obviously, JD Martinez is leading the league in home runs. Not the Yankees guys. It's the Red Sox guy leading the league in home runs. But when it comes to the Red Sox, I think it's their entire lineup. It's their bullpen. It's kind of everything. Both these teams, it's the entire. We see when they play each other, it really gets. It's almost like playoff baseball. We see when they play each other because it's all about matchups. It's all about pitching. It's all about finding the right guy to pitch against that guy. It's about who's faced who at one time. Obviously, but some of these guys have some new players. The Yankees lineup continues to change a lot. If you look at just the game yesterday. It's not even their guy. You think Stanton, it'd be Stanton and Sanchez. Obviously, Sanchez had a big game over the weekend. Did have a big game over the weekend. But it was Sanchez, Stanton, Didi Gregorius, Judge. No, yesterday was Tyler Johnson, Miguel Andujar, and Austin Romine. Those were the home runs. And Austin actually had 2 of them. So, that's what you get from the Yankees. You get kind of spread around talent everywhere. Obviously, you got Judge and Stanton. I think they gave Sanchez a night off. Yeah, Austin Romine was the catcher yesterday, so no Gary Sanchez yesterday. But we still got Judge. He went 0 for 4. Judge is where's everybody's batting average right now? Judge is at 282, Stan's at 263. So those guys. Stanton did get 2 hits yesterday, but whether it's the fact that Stanton is DHing more, not getting in the field, playing the field. Judge hasn't really gotten it going. He's only got a handful of home runs on the season. I think Stanton does have 10. I think Judge has 11. But that's that's not the best pace for him as we've seen him really get going on the season. Obviously, there's a long haul to get going on here, and we'll see with the Yankees. Their schedule. You're always going to think that when you look at their schedule for the Yankees, you always think that they're going to have the upper hand. But obviously, it comes down to pitching stuff. They're going to be they're going to go to Texas. They're going to come home for a interesting little homestand. I think it's going to be an interesting test for them. Homestand coming up. They do play in Texas this week before a weekend series against the Angels in New York, and then they host the Astros for 3 as well before going on a road trip. So. That's gonna be an interesting little weekend, and then week series homestand for the Yankees as they're going to face 2 tough teams out of the AL West. So I'll keep an eye on that. Obviously, come through the week. All right, we're going to call it for this segment as we're going to come back with the next segment and go through the games for Monday and Tuesday. Obviously, shortened slate today as we have. Some teams taking off days today. There's only 9 games on the schedule before a full slate on Tuesday. So we'll be right back and we'll go over those and give you some pitching matchups for those games coming up.
Want to know the latest in soccer? Then listen to the Golden State Media Concepts Soccer Podcast. From MLS, the World Cup, and the Premier League, we've got you covered. The latest updates, the hottest matches, and news on the league's top players. It's the Golden State Media Concepts Soccer Podcast.
David Beckham scores the goal to take England all the way to the World Cup final.
All right, welcome back, GSMC Baseball Podcast. As we are going to preview the week in baseball just the next few days until obviously we have our show on Wednesday. So make sure you tune in for that one, as we'll be recapping these games that I'm going to preview for you as we go full circle here on the GSMC Baseball Podcast. As always, good pitching matchups to start off the game, start off the week in Philadelphia. Big series coming up as the top two teams in the NL East will be head-to-head, Braves and Phillies. Mike Voltynewicz for the Braves will be going. He's 3-2 with a 2.87 ERA against Nick Pivetta for the Phillies, also 3-2 with a 3.72 ERA. So both these guys looking for their fourth wins on the season. Very similar lines as they obviously have that ERA just around 2 or 3, and both with 50. Voltynewicz is 57 strikeouts, Pivetta with 53. For the Nationals and the Padres, it'll be a pair of lefties. Robbie Erlin going against Gio Gonzalez. Gonzalez 4-2 with a 2.36 ERA, 55 strikeouts on the season, as he's been pitching pretty nicely for the Nationals, as obviously he was pitching in that game that was suspended by rain last week, and will now be going against the Padres as Padres continue their road trip through the East Coast. Erlin 1-2 with a 3.47 ERA, 27 strikeouts, as he is now being thrusted into the rotation after Joey Lucchesi is being placed on the disabled list. In New York, it'll be a pair of NL East foes, Marlins and Mets. Eliezer Hernandez will be coming to make another start, as he did make his first big league start against the Dodgers to give up 1 run over 5 innings, as he did get another decision in that one. So that gives him a 2.25 ERA with 3 strikeouts. Jason Vargas going for the Mets, as he's 0-3, still working on some mechanics, having some issues, as he's 0-3 with a 13.86 ERA, 9 strikeouts, as he looks to make his return to the rotation a good one. Diamondbacks and Brewers, as they'll be getting the series started in Milwaukee, as Diamondbacks continue their road trip, as they will be throwing Zach Greinke out there against Chase Anderson, a pair of right-handers. Anderson and Greinke with some similar stats, both with 3 wins. Greinke's 3-2 with a 3.46 ERA, 56 strikeouts, and then Anderson 3-3 with a 3.97 ERA, 30 strikeouts, as he did have to go in the DL for a little bit, and now he's back, as he'll be facing the team he was formerly with, the Diamondbacks. Yankees starting a series off in Texas. It'll be Masahiro Tanaka against Big Sexy Bartolo Colon. Colon's 2-1 with a 2.82 ERA, 32 strikeouts, as he continues to be that ageless wonder. Tanaka has been up and down all year. Either he's great or he's terrible. He's 4-2 with a, not kidding, he's 4-2 with a 4.73 ERA, 47 strikeouts to give up a few runs last game he was out in that suspended game against the Nationals to take the no decision. All right. And for the White Sox and the Orioles, it'll be Andrew Cashner against Hector Santiago, a pair of guys looking to get their records back where they want to be. Cashner's 1-5 with a 4.83 ERA, 46 strikeouts. Santiago yet to get a win on the season. He's 0-1 with a 5.29 ERA. Carson Fulmer was demoted, and then as the back to AAA, so now the White Sox are kind of shuffling around their rotation, and Santiago will make a spot start as of now. In Minnesota, Tigers and Twins, a NL Central tilt. It'll be Blaine Hardy making his second MLB start. Did give up 2 runs and 8 hits in 4 1/3 innings in his first ever start against the Mariners. He'll be facing Jose Barrios, as he's 4-4 with a 4.05 ERA, 50 strikeouts on the year for Barrios. In St. Louis, it'll be the Royals and the Cardinals to battle for Missouri, going on at Busch Stadium starting this week. Ian Kennedy against Miles Mikolas. Mikolas still a perfect 5-0 with a 2.63 ERA with 37 strikeouts, as he's been the best pitcher for the Cardinals this year by far. And then Ian Kennedy 1-4 with a 4.98 ERA, 45 strikeouts for the Royals. And then in Los Angeles, it'll be the Rockies and the Dodgers. So getting a series started off at Dodger Stadium. Jermaine Marquez going against Walker Buehler, a pair of young right-handers. Marquez 2-5 with a 5.15 ERA, 43 strikeouts. Buehler 2-1 with a 2.67 ERA, 34 strikeouts. All right, that'll do it for Tuesdays. We're going to run over to Monday. For Monday, I'll run over to Tuesday quickly here, as we're going to have a bunch of, obviously, a full slate of games. The Giants will get an interleague series started off in Houston, as they'll be throwing up their young left-hander, Andrew Suarez, against the veteran right-hander, Garrett Cole, who actually has faced the Giants a few times for sure, as obviously being in the National League for the bulk of his career, now coming over to the American League, but he'll be facing those National League Giants in this one, as he is 4-1 with a 1.75 ERA, 93 strikeouts already on the season for Cole, as he's been excellent this season. As Suarez 1-3 with a 4.88 ERA, 28 strikeouts on the year. All right, in Atlanta, it'll be the Phillies and the Braves going again. Make that in Philadelphia, obviously. If they're playing that game at Citizens Bank Park. The whole series, McCarthy is going to be going against Vince Velasquez. McCarthy is 4-2 with the 5.05 ERA, 4-4 with a 4.37 ERA, 55 strikeouts for Velasquez. All right, as we're going to have a great series coming up, Cubs and Indians. We have some couple good interleague series going on this weekend, or this whole week. After we had some good ones this weekend as well. Obviously, Cardinals and Royals going too. But for the Indians, it'll be Trevor Bauer against with a 3.3 ERA, 2.59 ERA, and 67 strikeouts. He's 3-3 on the season, has his record. And then Chatwood also 3-3 on the season with a 3.14 ERA, 40 strikeouts for the Cubs right-hander. In Washington, it'll be Garrett Rich. Actually, this is actually in Toronto. Angels and Blue Jays. Kind of skipped over that one. Richards against Jay Happ. Richards is 4-2 with a 3.47 ERA, 53 strikeouts. Happ 5-3 with a 4.15 ERA, 66 strikeouts on the season. As it'll be the Angels starting off a series north of the border against the Blue Jays. Nationals and Padres, Eric Lauer against Jeremy Hellickson. For the Red Sox and the Rays, it'll be Chris Sale against Jake Faria. Sale 4-1 with a 2.29 ERA, 87 strikeouts for the Red Sox. He's been the ace in the rotation there. In Miami, it'll be Caleb Smith against Zach Wheeler, a pair of young arms going for each team there, and both looking for their third win on the season. Pirates and Reds, Jameson Taillon against Matt Harvey. Matt Harvey still looking for his first win in a Reds uniform. He's pitched decently, but did get roughed up a little bit against the Giants in his last outing. Taillon did get a cut on his middle finger, but as he did come back after that injury, went 5 2/3 innings against the White Sox last week and gave up 2 runs in that one. Arizona and the Milwaukee Brewers, Matt Koch against Jhoulys Chastain. Both guys been pitching pretty well at the back of those rotations. 2-2 with a 4.06 ERA, 20 strikeouts for Koch. Chastain 3-1 with a 3.63 ERA, 36 strikeouts on the season. In Texas, the Yankees and the Rangers will be going again. Domingo Germain against Cole Hamels. Germain was actually pretty good in his first big league start back earlier in this month against against Cleveland, but then came back to earth a little bit in his second start against the A's, gave up 6 runs in 5 innings. Hamels still looking to get back on track, as he actually did pitch all right in his last start, but he's still 2-4 with a 3.48 ERA, 57 strikeouts for Cole. White Sox and Orioles will be Kevin Gausman against James Shields, a pair of right-handers there. In Minnesota, Tigers and Twins, Matthew Boyd, the left-hander, going against Lance Lynn, the right-hander. Lynn 1-4, still trying to find his footing in the American League as pitching for the Twins there. He's 1-4 with a 7.47 ERA, 41 strikeouts in that one. In the Missouri battle, Jason Hamill for the Royals, still looking for his first win. He's 0-5 against Luke Weaver for the Cardinals. He's 3-3 with a 4.37 ERA, 42 strikeouts for him. In Oakland, it'll be the Mariners and the A's getting a series started. Mike Leake against Trevor Cahill, a pair of right-handers there. And then in Los Angeles, the Dodgers and the Rockies, Chad Bettis will be going for the Rockies. Dodgers have yet to announce the starters. Their rotation still in flux throughout this whole year, obviously. almost seemed like they had too many guys coming into the season. Obviously, having some injuries has been the issue. Is like basically all left-handers in that rotation. We'll see what Dave Roberts wants to do tomorrow, coming in, as obviously they have not announced a guy yet for that game. All right, that'll wrap it up for today's show. And as we went over the games from the weekend, big, long, good weekend in baseball. Obviously, we had a bunch of games, a couple double headers on Saturday to go over, and a couple different sweeps. Some teams getting some footing in their division. Obviously, some of these top teams coming back to earth a little bit, with the Diamondbacks being one of them, and then the Yankees and the Red Sox still battling it out on top of that division in the AL East, as they won't be playing each other anytime soon, but they're definitely, when it comes to, keeping pace with each other, they're definitely doing that. It's still our tie at the top of the division. All right, we'll be back on Wednesday with the recap from the games from Monday and Tuesday, and we'll talk about kind of whatever's going on around the league, whether there's a big story or some players having outstanding week or a month or whatever we want to say. We'll probably go through maybe a little players of the month scenario as we get through the rest of this week, the last week in May, or last full week in May, obviously, as we get into June starting next weekend. All right, we'll come back on Wednesday, so everybody enjoy the beginning of their week. Have a good Monday, and we'll see you on Wednesday. Bye.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Baseball Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.